So we're going to open up space. Opening up space, so we're allowing for us to open to highest version timelines, highest version realities. We're folding in many layers of duality. We're folding in many lower doorways. We're closing all lower doorways so that we can have a higher interaction and a higher version reality, a higher version possibilities with all beings, all relatings. And I wanted to do this live, this Ascension Now moment, connected to the children, our inner child and the children around us, connected to the questions about schooling. I'd like to raise an opportunity of letting the children be, letting the children have the year off so that they may process, everything they're feeling, so that they can really allow for this, right? This is how I see the children right now, and us as bigger children, shell-shocked. Many different, as you see this slide I chose, is many different realities are overlaying, and rather than trying to grab at these multiple filters, multiple perspectives, multiple layers, multiple dimensions opened at once, rather than trying to grab at that, instead giving the children, our child inside, our children, an opportunity to let things settle and to not rush it. So I want you to really tune in as parents when it comes to choosing whether your child's going to do what type of schooling, the question that's coming up. And tune in and ask, would it benefit them for their highest version reality to present itself, for your highest version reality to present itself? Would it benefit you to take a pause on the old wave traditional school system and really allow for the new wave to arrive from our hearts, from our feelings, we have enough content that's happened this year that you could just sit with your children and hold their hearts and hold each other's hearts as things continue to reveal themselves and continue to be literally spewed out like vomit in the collective. And I apologize for vomit, but that's the dream vision that I need to speak about, so that the kids, our inner child and the kids around us, can process everything that's been divulged and spilled out. That will be schooling enough if you just attend to your child's heart and just attend to your child's true questions, your inner questions of what's going on and how to process it, especially with what's been revealed about the children and the underground and Hollywood, and what we've been basing our reality on, holding them up to our children and saying, oh, here's the fairy tales, live like this. Well, that's all collapsing. So in the subconscious psyche of our human tribe, there's a lot that is collapsing and will continue to collapse because of the reveals of our own making. This is nothing that we didn't do to ourselves, but because of the reveals of the government, of the human trafficking, the child trafficking, the way we were basing our sexuality on those frequencies in the sphere, and we didn't even understand and know it, that it was actually weaving into our own sexuality and creative space. Now that that's been revealed, it's, dimensionally, the lower world is like full. It's so full and it's purging. So the more you can sit still with your children and really attend to their hearts and their subconscious mind of what's going to pop up, rather than not dealing with it and having it surface itself in new ways in our collective, which it's going to happen regardless, because every dimension is, or let's put it this way, every possible perspective and reality exists. It's just, that's the nature of our existence. For those of you who are awake and who are seeking my guidance, though, this is the message of today. The Ascension tip of today is, can you really tune in and check yourself, check your own inner space to ask, do I need to go with the old existing archaic system of of schooling and try to push it in and squeeze it in and fit it in on the computer, rather than giving the time and space for true social skills to develop, for true superconscious emotional health to be woven into our collective human spirit, by giving ourselves space and giving our children space and giving them a pause. So for some of you who might have these old, questions, well, what about their college, or what about, if I took a year off, what would that leave them? Well, it would leave them with the emotional health and maturity that will be able to sustain this new world that's arriving. It'll be the best school you could ever give your child if you just pause and allow life to show you skills of this next year and beyond. Tend to the garden, grow a garden, tend to their hearts, talk about these real topics that have happened in our collective, so that they don't stuff them in their, in themselves and create patterns and addictions that aren't really giving them the time and space to actually address these feelings that are being picked up in the collective. Give your children space before they go to bed to speak to you about whatever. Notice if you don't know how to communicate with your inner conscious, or your subconscious, I should say, or you don't know how to listen to your own child's deep recesses, watch their behaviors, watch the shows that are coming up. Usually, your super being will project out into the reality what you need to digest. So if you can have open eyes and an open heart to really feel into what your children are showing them and your child self, as you go to, late night, I'm speaking to a group of you, late night, notice what you're watching and why are you watching that? And can you go deeper and heal that? And how do we heal these big topics, these big programs that are in the field from our television, from Hollywood? Well, we could stop watching them, okay? And if you are going to watch them, then you can check yourself and see, why am I watching that? Do I need to rewrite that? Do I need to write a new movie from my pineal gland and project that out after I finish watching this? Do I need to upgrade that? Or do I want to leave that doorway open for this to continue in my world, from my projector, from my psyche? And that's our inner responsibility. We all are like these, the most evolved technology is us. So it takes each of us to turn in and close down these lower doorways consciously, super consciously closing them down. And the maturity of us, will come when we stop choosing those things and we choose new things. So, if you catch yourself in your slumber on your couch with a, bowl of ice cream, watching some lower dimensional reality, then try to step outside and go, look at me. It's not to judge yourself, but to go, look at me. Okay, well, what am I not dealing with? And okay, I just need a pause. I'm just going to relax. But can you look at what you watched last night? Let's do it that way. So the higher version you is listening to this right now. The lower version of you may have watched some real low, distorted show, the program. Can you ask yourself why? And can you tell yourself, I'm going to heal this right now. I'm going to pull back all the fractals that I went ahead and wove out into by watching that and created grooves in my mind so that I continue to project that in the reality. Can you fill those in with light? Pull back, close all doorways, fill your being in with light that you're collecting, and then use that light to stack out of your pineal gland right now and reverse it. So you're in a perfected duality for good reason. You're in perfected duality to learn about what you were projecting. Okay? And so now maybe you'll project out by stacking the light back out from that show to being, a good news show, a show that was celebrating life and celebrating abilities, not having the plot of the villain and the victim. That's what we're going to collapse, y'all, and we have to collapse it in many different superconscious ways because of the tracks that we've laid from our very own superconscious super technology called the pineal gland. So you pull it back in. It doesn't have to take a lot of steps. It doesn't have to take a lot of, skill, other than the intention is there that you no longer are going to project that out. And when you start catching yourself going into these lower dimensional doorways of the program, of the TV, and then you choose to no longer do that, instead maybe you're still working with the TV for a bit, and maybe you'll get Gaia on, Amazon Prime and watch super conscious shows of super conscious realizations. Or, I don't know, maybe you'll just take a diet and a fast from social media and from the TV. Maybe you'll get rid of the TV, right? You can set a strong program. I did this a couple of days ago, and we'll tweak it, but I said, you know what? Let's just get rid of the internet. Let's have it not work. And all day it didn't work. Wherever we went, it didn't work. And so you are that powerful. When you make a decision and you start including the others into your goodwill, like being a big angel, a big being that says, I'm intending to pull back all internet and expand into something more grand, more beautiful. And show me what that is, super being. Show me what that is, bigger self. And let it dominate and take over my joy so that that's what I participate in this world. And maybe it'll be gardening. Maybe it'll be running. Maybe it'll be doing art. I don't know. It's really sky's the limit, unlimited. Maybe it'll be doing sky art, just staring into the clouds and letting that be your new, projector of plasma station that you watch what your super being wants to create. And you can decipher it, and you can use those plasma particles from the clouds to breathe them back in and create that into your reality. I don't know. We have much to explore here. And by taking a year off of school and allowing new school to arrive, which is called life, allowing new superconscious school to arrive, which is called life, and being aware and awake with your children and communicating with them about what's really going on, not leaving any stone unturned, reminding your children and yourself that you can forgive because they are you. And by truly shining the light on the they, the you that allowed, the things to go on that have gone on because you didn't govern yourself and govern your reality and take occupancy of the reality, take occupancy of all of existence so that you can come into oneness, so that you can come into neutrality, because you would only realize that you were creating the reality. There would never be a two doing something to you. And if you teach your children that, to take occupancy, to take their governing energy up the back of their spine, it's actually called the governing meridian for a good reason. As we take that energy and we govern ourselves in space-time, in existence, and we pay more attention to space than we do to time, because we've played with time-space for a while now, and you see we're at the end of that. Now it's time to get up on the elevator inside your spine and ride up a higher doorway. Choose no longer to be engaging with the space reality that you be and the interactions with others' infinite space reality that they be, which is also you. As you choose to close those lower doorways, so let's do that one again. Close the doorways at 0, at 1, at 2, at 3, at 4, at 5, at 6, at 7, at 8, at 9, at 10, at 11, at 12. You can do 12-dimensional doorways, close them. It's not that you're going to not experience something grand. You will experience something grand because you're actually allowing your rocket ship, your superconscious being, to actually have space to exist. Okay? So it takes you by stabilizing all these doorways up your spine, these dimensional doorways. When you stabilize them through your intention, you can then arrive out in space and see yourself in everything and use the energy that you are projecting to create more instantly, because you're not playing the time dance anymore. You're playing the dimensional dance. Okay? So I think that was like the main things that I needed to get out. Truth, was that the main? Yeah, it's about, the biggest thing is giving yourself permission. For you parents, I can still hear you echoing in my ear. But what about, are they going to learn everything they need to learn? And we've been teaching ourselves so many falsities. If the beginning point of the teacher didn't know that its consciousness was creating the reality, then everything is coming from a split of two. So all of that has to fold in. Everything that we thought was true has to at least be witnessed on the other side of the duality of it, which is the opposite. So it's going to fall and crumble to neutrality. And if you are going to try to rush and squeeze and grasp and grip at the old systems that are falling, instead of giving yourself and your children time and space just to exist in the truth of what they are and their true existence, which is taking responsibility of everything that is falling and actually speaking to them about it so that they are wise ones in the societies to come that can truly, be an emotional, or not emotional, but a mature assistant to the others who are stepping aboard their bigger ship, to their understanding themselves as everything, as space. We were not shared with that all that sits outside of me is me. We were not that was not something shown. We were actually dissecting it and defining it and creating encyclopedias and creating Google. We were creating all these definitions, which further and further split. So many splits that, those are all collapsing because another realm of our existence is arriving. It's already here. It's always been here. And it requires us to sit in stillness and to not have so many interactions, to even allow those fractal weaves and webs to actually come back in. Everywhere we fractaled out, it wants to come back in now. And if you're running around dimensionally and through different timelines and rushing and trying to get your kids all set up and how am I going to do this and that, if you're not allowing the bigger being of you and your children to exist and take care of things in a new way, because it needs you to occupy it. It needs you to get in the driver's seat and actually drive this thing without these two eyes, but this eye and this eye, the heart and the mind need to be driving. Your bigger being utilizes the inner to drive. So, even if you took this whole year to meditate with your children and to do the simples, washing dishes, making beds, going camping, if you're working, you're creating currency, be more creative. Let them join in and share their ideas. How we're going to do this now. We're at ground zero, guys. What can let's meditate and see what would be the best and highest for us to do today. What would bring us the most joy, the most wealth, the most support. And have your child and you and your inner child tune and tap into the now moment. Because in the now, as we're in joy, and as we give time and space to really allow our bigger being to take position and then to bring to us, literally, after we sat with our eyes closed, then we open our two eyes and it can bring to us what we just put out in the field together with our children. Then they can see that they are creating all of this and they can have peace of mind that they actually do have the tools that are needed for the next phase of our existence. So if that's the only education you give to your child from this point out and you utilize that daily with them, and you're honest with them as things are collapsing, and some days you just want to lay down and take a nap, or there's nothing else you can do but lay down and take a nap and wave your selenite crystal over you, let them see that and let them know today's a day that we just, lay down. Today's a day we process. And we dream and we daydream about what's to come, and we daydream about what we want to do tomorrow, and maybe our energy's all recollected from everything that's collapsing, from all those walls of realities are collapsing down. And then you breathe it in, tell them to take a nap and breathe those plasma particles in and use them. They're going to build with those. It's called stacking light. And when we stack the plasma light beyond the definitions of all these things, and we allow for what's going to project from us just to be joyful occasions without definition, but a knowing, because you are willing to also teach your children, your own inner child and your children, to teach them how to program their reality, how to program by saying what they want, speaking what they want, thinking what they want, knowing what they want, feeling what they want, not what they don't want. And if all they're stuck on is what they don't want, because that's what the society up to this point used the programming television to do, was to show a very dulled down version of who we be. And so that's where we have to pull them out and reprogram and teach them of their own power of their mind and their feelings, right? By putting our hand on our heart can instigate and lift them in to the higher doorway, at least of the heart, so that when they are daydreaming, they're thinking of good things, right? Having them, you can have them do a kaleidoscope before they go to sleep. Watch the kaleidoscope with some relaxing music so they get into a theta brainwave, and then tell them a news story. Tell them a bedtime story that helps them to heal by bringing them into a healing light chamber, and then allowing their highest version self to show them their true self. And then, Bobby, what does your highest version self want to do tomorrow? And remind them that when they're in that dream or that pre-dream state, and they think about what they want, and they think about, these ascended realms of healing and of magic and of manifesting, that's what their brain will program at that dream time to do the next day. Rather than putting them to bed with some television show that's about victim consciousness, so the very next day they have to go into victim experiences, which is fine if you're doing it super consciously and helping them realize that, okay, are we done with victim? Do you see how this is all playing out and where we got all this from? Can we no longer open those doorways? And if we do, can we have compassion to realize maybe there was just a little bit more emotion to process around victim, to find that conception point of where we began all this, from watching mommy and daddy fight or whatever those things were. And utilize pre-bedtime to reprogram. I know mommy and daddy fought, most of your childhood, but let's imagine that that's all healing. Let's imagine mommy and daddy when you were 3 and we woke up and we realized that we were actually this soul, this amazing soul that was coming here to play and didn't have the orientation manual. Let's imagine that mommy and daddy got the orientation manual about play. Let's see mommy and daddy playing at 3 years old, right? And so Bobby gets to witness this. Let's say he's 9 right now. He gets to witness this upgrade before he goes to bed. He gets to go in a healing chamber. He gets to witness mommy and daddy waking to themselves, their true self at an early age. He gets to witness his higher ascended self, what it looks like and what it wants to do tomorrow. And that's your best education right now as well for your children, so that they truly can have upgrades. And maybe you can add in some world topics, and deal with it. Deal with the world topics of sex trafficking and human trafficking, and not keep it so that they don't understand, but yet they feel it. That's no fun, right? Explain it to them. Explain the misconceptions, the misidentifications, the truth wherever you're at, your deepest consciousness. Don't sugarcoat it. Give it to the depth of what you've realized to this point. And then grow together, because you're all on the same page. And as you each yoke into the next level of consciousness that realizes, oh my gosh, I can really see how that sex trafficking began. Oh my gosh, okay, I see my responsibility in this. I see my hand in this. Holy badoli, let me forgive myself. And let me educate my child that they can forgive themselves about that as well, right? And then you can visualize the healing. Again, you can ask, what does our ascended self want to do for all those who've experienced sex trafficking? Let's set up, astral plane wellness centers for them all right now. Let's do that right now. Okay, everybody, visualize spaces and places for all beings when they go to sleep, that they visit our astral healing hospitals right now, our healing chambers. And it's not ours, it's the greater being. Let's set up a space from their consciousness, from everyone who's experienced human trafficking and sex trafficking in this now moment, for the power of 1 + 6, so the 7 of us right now. Let's set them up, see the blueprint, breathe it out, breathe in the clouds, and stack the light out and breathe out with that plasma and build out the blueprint for those who've experienced sex trafficking to have healing chambers that they go to bed with at night. And maybe they'll see you and maybe they'll contact you. Get ready for that. That's happening for me a lot right now. They do see you when you meditate with them, okay? If that's something you want to be there for them, great. If not, you can just ask their ascended consciousness to go ahead and do that for themselves, to hold that space. And okay, that's still setting up. And so see it all the way from the center of your pineal gland to the outer edge of the space that you exist in, to beyond the beyond, and in between spaces, addressing all dimensions and all beings. And all those beings that are you, there's some of those beings that are you. Merge them back into you now. And then pull back from that assignment. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And put your hand on your heart. And you know, sometimes that'll bring tears. I definitely feel mucho tears right now. So let it process. Let it process through you so that you may reform yourself. And so you may reform human consciousness to be that what you're projecting when you're silent out at the grocery store line, or you're silent in the car, or you're silent sitting on the back porch. That it's not the silence, that it's the space that you've worked, that they get to experience through you and through your children who've addressed these topics and have forgiven themselves. So everybody forgive yourself. Shower yourself with violet light, white light in this now moment. Let it rain over you and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for buying into the program and knowing deep down that this wasn't the program that you bought into totally. Why am I going along with this? And be willing right now, we're going to breathe in the program. Everywhere you bought into a program that's not serving your truth, your authentic presence, and your authentic blueprint creating. Breathe that in 3 times. I do it through the mouth a lot, you guys, because I'm gill breathing, I'm plasma breathing. I'm beyond what I was bought into about a program of breathing. So we're going to breathe out on the next couple breaths. New programs, new realities, right? You're taking, energy doesn't disappear. It just changes form. So you're pulling it in and then you're breathing it out. And you don't always have to understand the super being or the super conscious, blueprint, but you could feel it. I could feel in my heart that what I'm breathing out and blueprint laying would be a higher version reality, as well as that's the intention. I've asked to shut all doors to all y'all, your lower selves, and only interact with your higher selves, only create worlds with your highest version reality possibilities. And sometimes that can seem a little silly, that's the way I'm talking to myself constantly, but what's most beautiful is the reality that it's creating. And so that's, for me, that's my proof of my pudding, is I get to experience more joy and more bliss. My daughter brought up, but Mom, I feel guilty for how much joy is possible when I can see others and feel others. And so then I can address that. So everywhere our inner child feels guilty, we're just going to ask to collapse, dematerialize from the center of your spine to the outer edge of the universe. Anywhere you feel guilty and that you bought into the guilt program, we're going to fold all that in. Anything connected to the guilt, all 4 corners, all courts, fold in all court. And then gather that energy and rise it back up your spine. The true court lies within the one, where we take responsibility for our projections, for our beliefs, for what we're going to speak. Remember, if you're going to speak about the issues, always end on the upgrade and fold in the issues. Don't leave the issues open. Don't sit around and hang out and talk about it and without cleaning it up, those blueprints. Step into your master builder code, realizing that everything I think and say and be and is what is happening. Okay, I think I got it. Is that all that I needed to get out about the children in school? So the new schools are also going to meet in the now time at the parks, right? And so your super consciousness, your children's super consciousness, only wants better. You can trust. First of all, everywhere you're not trusting, heal all that. You can trust that your reoccupying space will give you the grandest. You're occupying space with your children, meaning sitting and being and doing more mindfulness practice, will get you off your seat at the just right time. It'll probably be an 11:11 or a 12:12 or a 3:33, and get your butt to a park all of a sudden where all the children that you need for social interaction are there. We just happen to be here. Because our light body, our etherical presence is beyond form. And the more you let go of all the forms that are crashing down and allow yourself to expand into your etherical form, you'll just be bilocating sometimes and being with one friend, and the other time sitting in the park with your group. And that might look like, your eyes are open and you're sitting there with a bunch of parents, and your inner eye is open as well, and you can see your beloved, star sister who's as huge as like a galaxy sitting there smiling at you. And all of my star-coded sisters, all of you, Amy, and brothers, Casey, I was just talking about you this morning, Eli, Candace, Jenny, Andrea, Catherine, Kristen. We are as big as galaxies. We're galaxies. We're so huge. And these are they're just tears. They're the solution. But I have total trust and total knowing that we're doing this. And in the dream last night, we were driving our big ship, all of us, and we were a little confused because the front of the orb, it was a fluorescent orb, and there was no way to see. And so you guys were like with me, we were trying to look beyond the windshield that we couldn't see. And I think it was Satori reminded us that you don't need to see. Just close your eyes and drive. Drive from your heart. And remember, your bigger being's got your back. Your bigger being, your superconscious state of existence that resides in space by occupying the space, will always be producing something greater. Even when you transition. That's what's happening. Death code is dissolving and it's opening up transitional code into dimension. And so we're all able to see our beloveds who have crossed over. It's consciousness bliss. The consciousness bliss in this beautiful white blue light that I sit in is so euphoric. And when I decide to get up and come out of like 10 hot flashes, then all of a sudden I show up at a park and there you guys are, and then we play in another form. And that's what's coming. That's what's here. But you've got to pull yourself out of the old programs. You don't have to buy into going into this traditional school. You can write a letter if you're just still straddling worlds. Write a letter to the state and say, I'm my child's teacher. And that's all you have to do. If you need Florida's address, I'll send it to you. Otherwise, you can pull yourself all the way out of the system and collapse it, and no one will ever ask you again because you're not playing in that realm anymore. You've opened up a new realm of a cosmic school of existence with your child. And the curriculum resides within you in the now moment. There would never be a textbook for that. This next phase of our existence requires us to access the textbook inside. So muscle test today. If you know how to muscle test, if you know how to get intuitive answers, ask your child's highest ascended self-consciousness. Or say your own, or my family, our highest ascended consciousness. Is it for the highest and best we sign up for virtual school? Yes or no? Is it for the highest and best we homeschool? Yes or no? Is it for the highest and best I send a letter to the state? Yes or no? Some of you might be a no because you're part of the next wave that even has to pull out of that realm. Each one that you pull out of with a trust and knowing, it will dissolve. So be more awake to the coding of saying dissolve, dematerialize, and then pull back the plasma and recoil it, reform it back out the field as you stack the light again. Okay? That's how we are in our seats as leaders at home. Okay. And is there any other questions that they should ask to consciousness so that they really do make a decision that will be profound for our children? Yes. What is it? Everywhere you need permission from your bigger being. Ask permission from your bigger being. Bigger being, give me permission to make my own choices, to lead, and to govern myself. Bigger being of my child, give them permission to govern themselves. And then ask the questions. And is that complete? Yes. Are we done? Yes. Okay, I love you. Thank you. Let me check comments really quickly. Kristen, thank you. Yes, let's let things settle for the young humans and the older humans, child within. Yes. There's enough for us to process. There's enough content for us to dive into for a while. Aaron perfectly said, thank you. Thank you, Aaron, for listening. Mom, thank you for the hearts. Amy, thank you for the dreaming. Eli, thank you. My son likes to bike, hike, float in the river, and cook. Exactly. Like, can we give them their right to be here in this most amazing heaven on earth? Like, perfected technology to give us what we say, think, and do, and be? Can we call them out of all the distortions, all of the lost orientation manual to the superconscious state of our existence? Can you download the superconscious orientation manual to your existence right now? It has nothing to do with what we've been shown. Let that all collapse. Let the children create the new education. Yes. Yes, don't pretend it doesn't exist. So hard and confusing for them. Exactly. Because they know it. They're so telepathic. They're so empathic. We've got this. Jess, open heart driving. Yes, Jess, you were also driving driving the ship that knew what to do. Death consciousness, destroy and increase. We are immortal. Exactly. We are immortal. If you've had a near-death experience, high five. You know what's up. There's no death. Destroy and uncreate everywhere you bought into that. Ditch the word language, textbooks of programming, lesser communication, bring in highest coded light language. Yeah, let's give our children time every day to do a new recoding, a switch word, switch the words. Take back our power from word. Give them an opportunity to study the etymology of a word, to really see what it was saying, to choose if that's what they want to be programming, or when they say that word, have it be what projects from it. They have the power to totally recode all language. We can set a program right now that from this point forward, you can ask to initiate and activate your heart to be the coding system that breaks any duality code or anything that has been set up that is not in harmonic or a resonant match to the heart signature will not create. Just set that. You can set these instant codes. You command the way it is. If you don't like the way I said it, say it, do it better for yourself. Visualize it. I'm intending that I'm going to tap my heart, and that's what I'm done. It's done. From now on, I'm going to tap people's heart if they want that, and that's going to be an initiation. Okay? What was I saying? Oh, so give the children an opportunity to recode the language. Have them draw symbols for the words that they want to say. Have a dry erase board on your refrigerator, or just put some dry erase markers near your refrigerator and have that be a new, communication board for each other. Send them symbol language in the morning and have them decode it. Play with the language. It was definitely part of the creation, the distortion, the program to keep us little, to keep us in duality, small and confused. And we did it to ourselves. Again, I'm always going to remind us about that. Forgive yourself for setting all that up, but you actually have the opportunity now to upgrade it. Okay. All you teachers out there, I'm seeing you. What about my career? Start a new school. Ask your ascended self, what's next? True money is your current. If you're not flowing your current of what you truly be and you're authentically sharing that current, then you're still playing the game that's folding. You will always be provided for because, again, the spacious being that you are provides for you. It's your current. It comes right back to you. It's plasma. It's photon particles. It's simple science. We have to get the orientation manual back. And it's the simple things that people like me are telling us on this social media for now until we stop using this. So let's add in, language, light language, love language, coursework with our kids every day. Play with them. Have fun. Go to play with these questions with the children, yeah. Slave self-dissolve. Upgrade. Hi, Shelly. It was an amazing live video, even without children. It so applies. Much gratitude. I know, Catherine. Love you. No more making them slaves to the system, strapped to desks, square rooms, upgrade to natural learning and dreaming. Yes. Think about that. Do you really want to add any more germophobia? And for me, my big responsibility, I found out about the magnets. And then I was seeing all the stuff that I was picking up on. And for, a couple months there, I was total germaphobe. Because I was like, oh my God, now I can understand why Aaliyah is so entangled and why she couldn't ever feel well. Because she was just etherically entangled, and they had names to them, pathogen names. So you can dissolve all that too. You can use these simple tools, okay? You can use magnets and never have to think about that type of consciousness again. Then you can use the earth and let the earth replace the magnets. And then you can use your bigger being as the earth and let all that replace, because you're in neutrality and you're no longer playing with the duality doorways that you were so accustomed to working with because you were just trying to help. And so you stayed enslaved to them by still occupying them, even though you were thinking you were helping. I'm totally in that group. I'm forgiving myself and pulling myself out. Sending so much love and gratitude. And if you need a sounding board of myself or a girlfriend who's awake to communicating with higher consciousness, do it with them. Help them hold accountability so that you really do tune in and get the truth about what's the next step for schooling. Let's actually change that word, school. Grouping, right? When you're in a school of fish, I'm seeing like a school of fish, it's a group of consciousness. How do you best want to group? What do you want your children to spring forward from? Do you want them to spring forward from the schooling? There's some saying like the closest 7 people around you makes up, the coding in your genes and then creates your reality. Do you want them to be sitting around in a box, schooling, in a lower dimensional doorway reality distortion of fear and worry? Do you? Maybe you're saying to yourself, I see one of you going, well, my child's real bright, they'll save them, they'll help them. Okay, again, if that's what you're guided to do, then trust that. Really trust that, and stay on top of communicating with your child as they go out into that realm. Okay? And give them new choices if they decide to pull out. And for those of you who are thinking about the computer programming, you saw the latter of this year. I've spoken to a lot of you. You were stressed out, a lot of you reaching out to me, because your kids couldn't keep up, you couldn't keep up. Is what they're being taught something you can't go like Aaliyah and I did and just go to Barnes & Noble and get a $20 book for the grade curriculum just to so-called keep them up with like the basics and allow your child to have more freedom, but yet still straddle the world and understand the math and stuff like that? Or do you even need that? Can you start having them count things at the grocery store? Can you step into these basic skills in other ways? And speaking to those of you at the computer, with the kids that were at the computer, ask their higher consciousness, are they really in alignment? Is that what they need to be learning about this next year as they feel the psyche of the collective collapsing? If it is, awesome, trust that. But I just want you to keep checking into these questions. Don't unturn a rock. If it's been a rock, if it's been resistant, it's been heavy, question it. Is that really what they're meant to do? Even the homeschool group that I attended last year, Sat and I both were like, I don't know. I think we got to pull in. I think we just got to do it our own unique way, super consciousness, talking about the things I'm talking to y'all about right now. So I hope to meet you at the park at 3:33 or 12:12, and we do this Ascension work with the kids, and the kids teach us just by simply singing and playing and painting and chalking. Chalking is what we've been having fun with. The new teachers of our new schools are the kids, the 2 and 3-year-olds, the star crystal children. They are wide awake and are ready to teach us. We are those stars. You are that star. Recollect your plasma. Be the star, and then be the space to hold that star. We are the new world. I love you.